Today I'm going to help you guys understand superiority and inferiority complexes. How we all get into these modes sometimes. We all have superiority and inferiority complexes, and why they are imbalances. Why we want to avoid getting into these modes, because they often create negative experiences for us when we're with others and when we're by ourselves. And I want to define superiority and inferiority because it's not about being confident, being your best self, or being gracious and giving to others. Superiority and inferiority is more so these reactive energies. A lot of times inferior and superior, it gets mixed up because once we start to judge ourselves, it's more likely that we suspect others too. We're suspecting that they're judging us. The more we think that, we're putting ourselves down, but at the same time, we're also like, what the hell? We're also feeling superior and inferior at the same time. So you can already see that being in the inferior energy oftentimes will go into superior too, and it just doesn't feel good. It's not balanced. So inferiority is just any time we're undermining ourselves, we're feeling judged, we're feeling like they're judging us, or we're faking a lot of energy. We're just like trying to please people. Obviously, sometimes if we're at work, we're doing something, if we really make a mistake, then the inferior energy is very obvious. But a lot of times, I think with society conditioning and how we have lived in this world up to this point, the inferior is almost just the norm. Like, we go into parties, social environments, or even just like networking, and then we all have this fake energy, like, oh yeah, and then we're all using so much energy and it doesn't feel good, and we're like not saying what we truly feel because we're scared that if we're blunt or direct that people can't take it. So we all get into this energy. Superiority, I think, is more nuanced sometimes and is sometimes not easy to understand, and sometimes not easy to understand why we don't want to be in a superior energy. Let's be real. We were never taught this in school. We were just taught to achieve in school and, be confident, be confident. And so many of us are so easily triggered now. Go look on social media. Like, look at comments. People are always fighting with each other. People are always saying this and that. Even, I know today is election day in the US. I don't talk about politics, but you can just see that even if you have good intentions, so many people just fight with each other. They don't, free will, man. Focus on what you want to stand for and share the good news, but share love and light. But people instead, they want to target other people of their decisions and what they're doing. It's just, and what is all of that? A lot of that is superior energy. And even if you have a reason for saying those things, which is fine, you can have your opinion. If you're always angry and triggered and wanting to put others down, it doesn't feel good for you. You don't feel good, and you just get into these fights with other people. Again, the goal is a type of confidence that feels good inside and out. And other people, your winning goal is I can speak my mind, I can be very direct, and I can be clear, but I don't need to trigger others. I don't need to attack others. And even if they have a different opinion I don't agree with, I don't even like, I can still live my days and I can feel good no matter what. And I don't have to suppress myself. I don't have to lower myself. That is the balanced confidence I'm talking about. The more intimate we get with our thoughts and emotions, and the better we get at catching triggers live and shifting it, this is where you guys will truly see the power of energy, how we are all interconnected through energy, just through our thoughts and emotions before even words are spoken, before even actions are taken. When we can shift our own internal energy, it literally shifts the world. It really brings together all these spiritual things that you hear, but you're like, I don't know if I fully believe in it, but also the practical things in life, the scientific things in life, because it's one and the same. So it's about learning how to hone our own energy and shifting it. And this is something we can practice and experiment with family, with friends, when you're around people, just anytime you start to feel tension, you start to feel a trigger, instead of suppressing it, instead of masking it, instead of being suspicious of others, judging yourself, literally in that moment, you catch it. You're like, am I about to be inferior or superior? Am I about to be diminishing myself or forcing others, judging others? It's okay that I feel it. I'm human, but I'm going to catch the onset of it. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to bring myself back to eye level balance. I'm about to go into this rabbit hole, but I don't think I'll go into it right now, but maybe I'll go into it a little bit. But I have had these downloads through my meditations where I understand us at the spiritual level. When we go back into the spirit, when we die, we're in the spirit realm. It is bliss. Everything is bliss. We're just energy and we're spiritual and everything makes sense. There's no more veil and everything is no. It's all love. It's all love. And we know that this human experience, it's a game. It's a learning experience and it's a game and it's a miracle. Why is that? Because it's only in a physical experience. A physical experience is where we can hold one another. We can hug one another. We can have moments of true love. It's like we feel we can embrace, we're separate in a way where we have our own unique identities and egos. We can create, we can achieve, we can be artists, we can be entrepreneurs, we can do all these things. It takes a physical body and an ego, an illusion of separation in order to experience all of this, in order to experience true love, in order to experience connection. When we're spiritual and when we're spirits, we're backed into the heavens. We're just energy. We might still have souls, but how do we engage? There's no physicality. So what I'm trying to say is this physical life, this human experience, it's beautiful. It's literally a miracle. But I personally believe we're at a point now where we're evolving our consciousness. Like us on the spirit level know that this is happening. We have gone from cavemen to where we are at now. And it's about your view. See it from a new view. Some people might think, oh, the world's going to shits and blah, blah. But for me, I see the world, this is amazing. Technology is amazing. AI is amazing. But everything has to be used with balance. And yes, there is a lot of chaos in the world. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of pain. I understand. But how do we truly create change for all of that? It's learning how to better interact with ourselves and others. It's learning how to regulate ourselves. It's learning how to find balance. It's learning how to not be inferior and superior. And knowing how to work with our egos, be able to be confident and be that bitch and be playful, not be too like passive and scared of everyone too. Like be real, say what you want, be direct, but not to the point where you're starting to be superior, starting to fight with other people, starting to be me or you. That's why in the end, life is about balance. And I believe that in our spirit world, this is what we're learning. We're trying to evolve our consciousness. So how do I get here? Oh yeah. So that's why it's alert nonchalance. Though that's why if you're following up to this point and if you resonate, it's worth it. I know in the beginning it might sound like a lot. Avoiding inferiority, avoiding superiority, practice balance, practice confidence, practice being gracious. But if you commit to it, it's not as hard as you think because it's just about being more present in every single moment, being conscious and catching triggers and choosing to shift it, choosing to feel and think something different right now. The hard part is actually just doing it instead of going with the reactive emotion that first comes up. Alert nonchalance is not about apathy. It's not about, I don't care. It's not about ignoring things, suppressing things. It's the ability to be very open and aware of everything, to observe everything that's happening, to be confident to observe everything, and even observe people. I love to observe people, Trust me, when I tell you guys like, oh, don't judge, don't do this and that, I'm always analyzing people though. I'm very aware of people and I love it. That's why I love reality TV shows. It's the best. It's okay to observe things. It's okay to recognize things, but you're just not being triggered by the things that you're observing. That is alert nonchalance. It's still a balance. It's like, it's all good inside and out. Even if right now I'm caught in a fire, there's a lot of people arguing around me. I'm going to be aware. I'm going to try my best to resolve or just, get the fuck out. But on my base, it's all good. It's all good. And in order to really be able to carry this energy of alert nonchalance most times, you really do need a meditative practice in your life. That's why I respect my meditations every morning and every night, because I give myself time and space to review my experiences throughout the day, to understand what happened, to release any emotions if I need to go into any emotions if I need to, because some interactions are intense. So it's not about suppressing. So I give myself time and space where I can still go into things and understand. And if I have moments of really being angry with someone, judging them even, I have that meditation space to go through it, to then come back to, oh yeah, you know what? Never mind. I love them, or I love them, but I don't care for them. It's all good. Meditation will give you time and space to release. So just recognize that the energy that you're shifting is way more on the inside, your thoughts and emotions, but you have to be real with yourself and you really have to find balance. You're not just pretending, you're really feeling it. When you really feel that balance, then how you deliver your words and everything else will come way more naturally. And you know who was a really great practice for me? My mother. My interactions with my mother have shifted so much. Our relationship, she is maybe the hallmark. I need to thank her. I need to call her later, because just the evolution of our relationship was so much proof of energy influences. And it's also contextual because I went through a lot with my family. Like, there were the most intense things I've ever experienced were through my relationships, and a lot through my family. And so much has happened between me and my mother too. But the changes, the shifts, even though I talk about how she has changed so much, she has evolved so much, and I love her so much for it, for herself too, the real change came from me. How our relationship has evolved, how she has evolved, was me changing the way that I interact with her, was me finding balance, was me learning to not be inferior or superior with her. And it's complex. I think most of our tension in many of our relationships is complex. With my mother, I used to have both inferiority and superiority complexes. I would be inferior. I would let her put me down sometimes. And I'm not blaming her. It's just Asian family households. Like, she was never taught. So some of the ways that she used to speak to me or engage with me, I would be inferior. I would not know how to stand up for myself. But when I do, I would be very superior. I also have a very dominant, intense, angry, serious side. And that would either trigger her and we would literally get into intense fights, or I would hurt her. It was me understanding superiority, inferiority, and balances, and me learning how to be confident and gracious and to really influence her through my own energy. And the changes in our interactions was because I changed and I shifted, and she saw that I changed, I shifted. She naturally also responded with more love and kindness. But I was also able to hold my confidence with her too. So now she respects me for who I am. She supports me with everything I do. So she was such a hallmark and testament to everything I show you guys. Again, a lot of it is your own shift in energy, and it doesn't even involve words and behaviors in the beginning. But obviously, once we bring ourselves back to eye-level balance, anything that we express, if we want to improve, we want to know how to use the right words, we want to use less filler words, we want to speak better, we want to have more dynamics in the ways that we speak. That still comes with practice. It's about you being intentional and you being aware of what you want to practice in your expressions and then you practicing it. But there's a few things that we can remember. When we bring ourselves back to eye level balance, no superiority, no inferiority, and now we're just engaging with people. One thing we want to remember is we don't want to connect being sharp or soft with being superior and inferior. I think a lot of us are scared to be sharp, soft, and a lot of us don't know how to be playful in our interactions. What I like to do is I like to go between sharp, soft, and playful. In one single interaction, I like to flow between being sharp, being soft, and being playful. When I flow between these expressions, this is actually how I can balance not going into superiority or inferiority, not going to superior and inferior energy. Because if you think about it, it's just how energy works. If you stay in one stagnant energy, let's say if I start the conversation, I'm going to be sharp. I have certain points. I'm going to tell you my points. And this is maybe in the beginning, I'm just being sharp and I'm not being superior, but I'm just telling you that it's A, B, C, D. But if I keep being sharp and I keep staying in this energy, even though my intention was not to be superior, I'm using the sharpness and I'm keeping sharp. It's easier for me to start to dip into superiority and start to trigger this emotion of being reactive and being right because I keep being sharp. So that's why sometimes I'll state sharp points, but I allow myself to breathe and pause, and I'll flow into soft moments. So it helps me not get stagnant and start to go into an imbalanced place. And obviously, if we're just being soft and like really soft and really gracious and like, yeah, it's all good. Like, oh yeah, you choose and no worries about me. And yeah, it's all good. Then you're going to eventually become a people pleaser. And I like to sprinkle in playfulness in there because life just should be fun. And when you're able to sprinkle in some playfulness as you're being sharp and soft, it just makes your whole energy more attractive and relatable too, because you can have moments where you're being decisive and clear, and you can have moments where you're being gracious and kind. But then you'll sprinkle in some playfulness to show people that it's all good, man. Like, no need to take anything too seriously. So I like to flow between sharp, soft, and playful. But I also want to emphasize that you can be sharp, you can be soft. Being sharp and soft does not mean being superior or inferior. It's actually good to know how to be sharp, soft, and playful, and not be afraid to be sharp, soft, and playful. When you have a point, when you have something to say, when you're at work, even when you're with your friends, learn how to state things definitively. Look people in the eye and say what you want to say. Be direct. It's okay. And the way we can be sharp without coming off superior, or sharp and then coming off inferior even, is be intentional. Before we speak, before we do, and remember what we're here for. And things that we're confused about, make sure that we decide first before we say anything. Don't speak and don't respond, don't engage when we're still in a chaotic place. Our sharpness will come off way more attractively when we're certain and intentional. Then that sharpness, even when we're being sharp, it still carries some lightness with it too. And being soft, it's okay to be soft. And it's also okay to give more sometimes. This is where the nuances come into. Superiority and inferiority is only when we're being reactive. We're being reactive with our emotions. It doesn't feel good. We're being forceful. We're being aggressive. We're attacking, defending. We're being passive. We're being inferior because we're scared. It's coming from fear, concern. That's when your emotions is your compass. When it doesn't feel good, it's inferiority and superiority. However, sometimes we want to give more. Sometimes we want to be soft. Sometimes we want to be very gracious. Sometimes we want to just give to see someone else happy. We want to just be we want to admire someone. We want to show them, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Like, I admire you so much, or you inspire me so much. We should feel confident to be in those energies. That's actually it's beautiful. So many of us, we admire or we are inspired by others, but again, because of fears, insecurities, concerns, past experiences, even people that we admire and love, we don't fully tell them that. And we're scared that if we're being too soft, maybe they're going to take advantage of us. So again, it's not about being sharp or soft. It's beautiful to lean into these sides, but we want to feel good doing it. We want to be able to speak sharply, definitively, without being aggressive, without feeling like we're attacking. We want to speak softly, graciously, kindly, without feeling like now we're diminishing ourselves or we're undermining ourselves. When we're giving, we give with full confidence. When we're soft, we are soft with full confidence. And when we're playful, it's this energy of being both truly playful, real, and strategic, but we're not being manipulative. Playfulness sometimes can be triggering too. If we're being playful in this, we're kind of like judging people kind of way, right? And that's why there's so many nuances, because we can even tease people sometimes. And sometimes balance is subjective. That's why you just want to learn the foundations, and then you just have to make sense for it for yourself. Because I use this in my blueprint. Again, comment energy on Instagram if you want my blueprint. For you guys on YouTube and my podcast, it's in the description below. But I use this example of BDSM relationships. You have your doms and you have your subs. The doms like to be dommed and the subs like to be sub. So the balance there is, that's your balance. The balance is not always, oh, it's just, okay, like it's just the obvious balance. Balance is recognizing what your role is, recognizing whoever you're engaging with, what their role is, communicating that, understanding that, and playing in that. So sometimes we want to be submissive, sometimes we want to be dominant. It's not just in BDSM relationships, it's personal relationships all the time too. And it's not just one energy the whole time. We flip, we interchange. It's like you're with a partner. Sometimes you like that your partner is more submissive or dominant, and then you flip it. And it's okay. And sometimes you tease people, and it's all okay. You can be whatever you want to be, but there's that base of balance and respect, because you understand one another. And even if you're teasing, playing, and you're pushing to the edge sometimes, the point is you recognize when it's about to go over the edge and you bring yourself back. You feel the balance, you know how to practice the balance in the moment. It's hard to give you scripts or define it, because every single interaction we enter into, it's unpredictable. So the way to know what to do is you just catch it, you breathe, and you just remember the term eye level balance. And eye level balance is like, I know my truth, but I'm not going to attack you. If I don't like you, I can set a boundaries. I can just let it be. And if I have a point and you have a different point, I'll listen to you. I'll literally listen, be open, and I can agree or disagree without triggering you. I'll take some of your questions now. Okay, there's many questions and comments. How do you overcome the feeling of inferiority when it arises? Recognize that confidence is certainty, and certainty is knowing. But the knowing does not mean you know everything, because life is unknowns all the time, every single day. We're always going through unknowns. That is part of the game of life. It's just certainty no matter what. I'm good no matter what. I'm the best I can be right now, and there's nothing else I can do right now. So that's it. When you understand that, when you get that, then you can enter any interaction and you always have an eye level confident base, because even if you're engaging with people at a higher level, doing something you want to do and they're better than you, they could be more advanced, they could be more skillful, maybe they have certain traits that you're working on. Even if you're the most amateur in that group that you're engaging with, Of course you can bring yourself to eye level balance, and that's the only way that you will become them. If you enter into a group of people and you always see yourself as lower, you're always going to be lower. So you just always recognize that no matter what I'm doing in my life, where I'm going, what I'm doing, I'm always able to be eye level balance with whoever it is. And when I'm eye level balance with them, I can still show them I admire them. I can still show them even that I'm just starting out, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so inspired by all of you. I want to ask you guys so many questions. And you know what? This is currently what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure this out. You guys give me some advice? You guys have any advice for me? I catch myself giving unsolicited advice and can come off superior even though I just want to help. I talk too much or even assume accidentally. I try to reflect afterwards and apologize when I catch myself in the moment, but how can I balance myself in emotionally fueled conversations? You listen to people more. As you're actively listening, and the same thing, you're going to catch triggers when it comes up. When you feel the need to speak, you're going to catch it first, and you're going to be like, right now, am I about to be forceful? Am I about to be triggering? It's in the moment. You take more time in the moments before you speak. You relax. You can still give your advice, but just try to come off it more from me. Instead of saying, you know what, you should do this. Or that's not right. That's not right. Don't assume for people. Be thoughtful. Take a moment, breathe, and be like that. Okay. That's interesting because I've gone through a lot of similar things. I'm not sure what you would like to do, but in my experiences, when I felt that, this is what I typically do, and it has really helped. Have you tried something like that before? Whenever you come off it from me, it's going to be more soothing for others to receive and take into. It's okay sometimes if you just give the advice or you just say something. You just tell them. Try not to like point fingers and be like you're right or wrong. Don't be so black and white. But it's okay to just, hey, have you tried this? Or like, you know, like maybe you can think about this. Maybe you can do this. This is also the practice of us not being so scared, not being so inferior when we want to tell someone something. But your balance comes after that. So if you give some advice and you notice that they're a little bit triggered or they're not very open to your advice, then you can practice balance. Then you can be like, okay, I noticed that. So do they want this advice or not? If they're being kind of triggered, then I'll just let it be. Then it's okay. Or maybe I'll be like, it's just an idea, but might work for you, might not. I don't know. But if they're kind of triggered, but they're a little bit open too, then maybe you can soften. You can be like, yeah, I know you're already doing your best. It's just something that I've done in the past too. So I want to share my approach with you. So a lot of this is you do whatever the hell you want first, and then the balance comes after. You just have to be present. You have to feel out. And you're balancing your own choice of words, your own opinions with gauging what their energy is and how far you want to continue on with your intention. Peasy biscuit? Yeah, I'm sorry you're going through that. I understand it's not easy. My coworker seems to see me as inferior because I'm not a native in their language. How do I handle this passive bullying? What I recommend you do, and I know it's not easy, but breathe. So you want to intention, breathing, balance. If you respond in a way where you're stuttering and you're scared and you're just like, I don't know how to pronounce that, they're not going to take you seriously. If you come off very reactive, it's going to trigger them. So you want to breathe and look them in the eye and be like, English isn't my first language. I love to chat with you guys, but I have a hard time pronunciating and enunciating certain things sometimes. I'm doing my best. When you can deliver that message with confidence and grace, that's enough a lot of times. But you want to look them in the eye and you're serious, but no superior, inferior energy. And I would recommend, normally if you do that once, they will get it. especially if you do it clearly. And then moving on, they'll likely shift. And sometimes what you can do is if you already had that serious conversation, maybe they heard you, but there's a little bit of tension. What you can also do is next time you mess up a word, you also don't take it so seriously. You already said your truth that you're practicing, and this is actually a pretty serious thing for you. But when you mess up next time, you can be like, oh guys, how do you pronounce that word? I don't know how to pronounce that. Please, can you tell me how to pronounce it? Let me repeat after you. So you make the situation more lighthearted too. I think that will be your best approach. Tell them clearly from the get-go that you're practicing already, but when situations come up in the future, you breathe and you call it out lightly yourself and you ask them, okay, wait, how do I pronounce that properly? So you're both being confident with them, but you're approachable too. You're not being really sharp and prickly with your insecurities. A lot of these other questions I already spoke to in this episode, and the sun is now telling me to take a pause because I can't see now. I think today I focus more on interactions with others, but just also recognize that we can be triggered by inferiority and superiority when we're by ourselves as well, still in our feelings. Obviously, if we're doing something and we feel like we're lesser than, we're not good enough with what I'm doing, or I'm confused, I can't get to my goals, that's inferiority. So you breathe, bring yourself back to eye level balance. We can also be superior with ourselves, where we're feeling reactive. We're feeling like, why isn't this happening? We deserve this. We're trying to force things to happen. We breathe, we stay intentional, we trust. We let things happen naturally. We take opportunities as they come, and it's all good. So we also practice balance when we're by ourselves. If you want personal support from me, you guys can also book one-on-one coaching with me. It's also in the description below. I would love to help you guys in your personal situations in life. Personal coaching is also the best way for me to meet you. We do it through video calls, so that I can sense your energy, I can help you with your presence, I can help you with your delivery. We can do role play as well. And remember, when you're in doubt, just gotta breathe and remember to see things from a new view. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.